Okay, so we have already seen what happens when light travels from rarer to denser medium. Now have a look on this figure. I have drawn this figure. That is what happens when light travels from denser to rarer medium. So I have given an example here. It is traveling from glass to air. Okay, so glass is denser, air is rarer medium. Okay, so this is the incident ray. The first part of the figure is unaffected. It is the same. The angle between the normal and the incident ray is named as the angle of incidence. Now, the second part, that is here, the ray of light is traveling into a rarer medium from a denser medium. Now, how does the bending happen? We know that refraction is usually the change in direction. It doesn't travel in the same direction. There has to be a change in direction when the media is different. Okay, so here the media is different because you can see the interface, the surface separating the two media. Now, this is the actual direction of light which we expect the light to travel, but it has bent. But here the bending is away from the normal. I told you, whenever you have to make a comparison, make the comparison with respect to the normal. You can see it has bent away from the normal. How can you find out? This is the normal. Instead of moving along the straight line path, it has bent away. It is moving away from the normal. So you can see this is the angle of refraction, which is the angle between the normal and the refracted ray. Now, as I told you, denser to rarer, the bending is away from the normal, away from the normal. I told you there is a mnemonic. In order to recollect this idea, dr away, so you can call it as doctor away. Dr away, doctor away. So you can keep this in mind. That is the second case in mind. Denser to rarer, bending of light is away from the normal. And you should know that always the comparison is taken with respect to the normal. Now, we can also make another comparison. We know that in reflection, what is the relation between angle of incidence and angle of reflection? As per the rule, we know that angle of incidence will always be equal to angle of reflection. Is there any relation or is there any comparison between the angle of incidence and angle of refraction here in this case? See, in the first case, when light travels from rarer to denser, you have seen angle of incidence to be greater than angle of refraction because the bending was towards the normal. Anyway, they can never be equal because bending happens. So, angle I am going to write it rarer to denser, angle I will be greater than angle R. Or you can say that angle R is less than angle I because this bending is towards the normal. The angle of refraction has reduced. Now, D to R, what has happened? You can see it is evident from the figure. Angle I is less than angle R. So, I am going to write that angle I is less than angle R. So, this is the relation between angle of incidence and angle of refraction when light travels from a rarer to a denser medium or denser to a rarer medium. So, density of a medium should not be confused with the density, the real density. You must have the mass by unit volume density you must have learned. That is not to be confused with here because it is optical density. It is a phenomenon related to light. So, optical density, any medium which is optically thicker or optically lighter, or you can see optically rarer and optically denser should have has to be considered here. Not you have it has no relation with the other density, the mass density which you have already learned. Okay. Now, I hope you have understood these terminologies which we have the terms, the basic terms, because without this we cannot proceed further. So, next let us see the rules of refraction. But before going to rules of refraction, I need to teach you some math too here, some terms or something in mathematics too, because you are going to learn that topic later on in mathematics in your 10th standard. You'll be learning it in detail, but I'll just give you a glimpse. Whatever is needed for our topic, I'll just give you a glimpse of it. Okay. So actually this topic comes under trigonometry. Trigonometry is actually a game with right angle triangles. So I'm just going to draw a right angle triangle ABC. You know what a right angle triangle is. Okay. I'm going to mark this acute angle as angle A itself. I'm not going to write what it is. I'll just write here A itself, this angle, the side, the vertices I have marked as A, B and C. I am marking this angle, this acute angle as A. Now, we need only sine of an angle. Sine is a trigonometric ratio between two sides. So, first let me mark the sides. You can see this angle, right? The side opposite to this angle is known as the opposite side. And the side adjacent means something near to it, isn't it? Close to it as adjacent side. Now the third side, you all know, it is the hypotenuse, isn't it? You know that, hypotenuse of a triangle. So in a right angle triangle, I have named all the three sides. The angle, I have marked an acute angle. I can even mark this angle also. Then these two sides gets reversed. Okay. Now don't get confused. I am just marking this angle. The side opposite to this angle is the opposite side. The side adjacent or just next to it is the adjacent side. And the third side, the longest side of a right angle triangle is normally called the hypotenuse. Now, sine of an angle. Sine of an angle. So, the angle is A. Sine A is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse. So, we have a right angle triangle. So, in this case, opposite side is BC divided by AB, isn't it? BC by AB is sine of A. So, sine of an angle is simple ratio between any two sides of an angle. I'm not going to, actually we have so many other two ratios also and their co-ratios and the reciprocal of these ratios. I'm not going into all those details because we don't need it. We need only sine. So I'm just teaching you sine because the class is going to be lengthy when if I teach you the other sides also. We need only sine of an angle. So sine means it is a trigonometric ratio between two sides. So you can recollect this SOP, SOP. Okay. Anyway, the ratio for sine and the next another ratio is cos. Sine and cos, they have divided, their ratio is compared with respect to hypotenuse. So you can remember sine as SOP, SOP. You will get the other ratios when you consider the other classes in mathematics. So let's have a quick glance of this. Okay, sine of an angle is opposite side by hypotenuse. Learn this. Okay. Now, coming to our topic, that is rules of refraction. Just like rules of reflection, we have two rules for refraction. The first rule is similar to the rule you have already learnt in reflection. That is the incident ray, the refracted ray, and the third thing is the normal. And when you say normal, always use this term along with it. Normal at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. That is, if the plane changes, there is a shift in the direction or you will not be able to see the refracted image. Okay, so I'm going to write that the incident ray, the refracted ray, and what was the third one? And the normal at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. Okay. Now, coming to the next rule or the second rule. Second rule or the second law is also known as Snell's law. Okay. it is a comparison of ratios of angles of incidence and angle of refraction. So I'm just going to write the rule as it is a mathematical rule actually. It is that is the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction will always be a constant for a pair of media, and we can name it as the refractive index of one medium with respect to another. It will be slightly confusing for you because I know you have never dealt with all these things, but I'll make it more simpler for you in the next topic. Just my aim is to just to make you familiar with the rule now. Okay, so I'm just going to write the ratio of sine of angle of incidence. You know what angle of incidence is. That is why I explained the basic terminologies there. And ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is a constant. Do you know what constant is? Any quantity that does not have change, or it is a constant value just like a pure number, is called a constant. Constant that doesn't change at all. Okay. So to the sine of angle of refraction is a constant for a pair of media. Pair of media, because for refraction to happen there should be at least two media. Actually, refraction can happen for any set of media, any number of media, but at least two media should be there. That is, light has to travel from one medium to another. That is the basic concept. So, the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is a constant for a pair of media. And what do you call this constant? That constant is given a name which is also familiar, new to you, not familiar actually, new to you. It is called refractive index of one medium with respect to means making a comparison, nothing, you don't have to think beyond that, with respect to another medium. That is, we know that we have two media. Okay, we have two media. Medium is singular. Again, you will be thinking about all these things. Media is plural. When you have two, more than one, you call it as media. So, from one medium, refractive index of one medium with respect to another. So, ratio means it is a division of two quantities. You are dividing two quantities. On the right hand side also you have two quantities, that is the refractive index of one medium with respect to another. I'll tell you what refractive index is in the next topic. So, I hope you have understood the two rules. The rules have to be learnt as such. Incident ray, refracted ray and the normal at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane, and the second one is the Snell's law. This law is also known as I told you, Snell's law. I'll just rewrite this mathematically. So, coming to Snell's law, which is very important because the first law is the same as the law of reflection. Snell's law is what you have to concentrate on because it throws much light on refraction. Actually, what is the real reason? What is the actual reason for refraction to happen? Because in science, there is always a reason for anything to happen. So, why does light bend? Why can't it go in the same direction? All these are answered by the Snell's law. So, you got a new term here, refractive index. So, I am just going to write it mathematically. Sine of I. I already told what sine is. Hope you have understood. Sine of R. You have to put a small gap. Some put bracket also. Actually, you don't have to put the bracket. Sine of I divided by sine of R is equal to, what did I tell you? Refractive index of one medium with respect to another. Actually, the incident ray is in the first medium and the refracted ray is in the second medium. But on the right hand side, the comparison just reverses. So, it is actually sin I by sin R is equal to N2. N is actually used to denote refractive index. We have other notations also. I'll just tell you what is the other notation. For the time being, we'll go with the simpler one. N2 divided by N1, as it is a ratio on the right hand side. But this can be written as one single term. See, I'm going to write it as subscripts. N, the first subscript comes as 2 because the, as I told you, on the right hand side you have to flip it. N2 1 is the same as N2 by N1. Understand? N21 is a single or a single term or single notation used to represent refractive index of one medium with respect to another. So it is the refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. Actually, coming to refractive index, I'm going to just write, you haven't seen what the spelling is, refractive index of a medium. There are two things you have to note, or two types of refractive index we have to discuss. One is absolute refractive index and the other is, I'll use shorthands, other is relative refractive index. Because without knowing this, we cannot proceed further. Actually, there are two types of refractive index we have to deal with. One is absolute refractive index, which is the real refractive index of a medium, and the second one is relative refractive index of a medium. Now coming to absolute refractive index. So this is the mathematical form of Snell's law, that is sin I by sin R is equal to N2 by N1, which is equal to N21. N2 by N1 can be written as a single notation. First, you have to write, the first subscript that appears here is the second medium with respect to the first medium. So that is why I have written N21. I'll just explain how it has come. Now coming to absolute refractive index and relative refractive index. Let us first see what absolute refractive index is. As I told you, when light travels from a rarer to a denser medium, we know that light bends towards the normal. So what happens, actually what exactly is the reason for refraction to happen is, light has a particular velocity in a medium. And another point to be noted is, light has maximum velocity or maximum speed in vacuum. What is vacuum? Vacuum is nothing. When nothing is there in space, we have nothing. No air, no molecules, no particles there. So you call it as vacuum. So light has maximum speed in vacuum and it can travel with maximum speed in vacuum. And we denote that speed as c. Speed of light in vacuum is denoted as c. Speed of light in vacuum. Now, as I told you, refraction is the bending or the change in direction. If direction has to change, there should be some change in its speed, isn't it? When some change in direction has happened, that means something has happened to its speed. So here, if light has maximum speed in vacuum, what happens when light travels from vacuum to another medium which is more thicker than vacuum? Or suppose when light is traveling from air into glass, which is one is thicker and the other is lighter. So in that case, there is a change in direction which actually happens due to the change in speed. So how does the change in speed happen? Say for example, I'll just give you a small example. You are driving on a straight highway, which is a very good road, which is a tarred road. You know that you can drive with maximum speed, or of course within the speed limits, you can drive easily along a highway. But suddenly, if you were to take a service road or a road which is very uneven, which has an uneven surface, or a sandy area, suddenly if you have to shift, what happens to your speed? You suddenly apply brakes and you reduce your speed and you cannot move further with the same speed, with same constant speed which you were traveling. The same thing happens here. You consider the straight highway or the perfect road as the speed of light in vacuum or a rarer medium. Suppose suddenly you are shifting to a marshy road or a sandy road or an uneven surface. What happens? Your speed reduces. The same thing you can just logically relate it to our instance here or our case here. That is, suddenly when light encounters a thicker medium or a denser medium, what happens? The speed reduces. So exactly when light travels from a rarer to a denser medium, its speed reduces. So the reduction in speed or the change in speed of light when it travels from one medium to another is the basic reason for refraction to happen. So speed of light in vacuum is denoted by C. Now coming back to absolute refractive index. Absolute refractive index is the ratio of speed of light in vacuum to the speed of light in a particular medium. Suppose you want to find out the absolute refractive index of glass. I am going to write it as N glass for you to understand it easily. Actually, you don't have to write like this, but N glass. So, as I told you, by definition, absolute refractive index of glass is the ratio of speed of light in vacuum to the speed of light in that particular medium. What is our second medium? Here it is glass. So, I am going to write that speed of light in vacuum to speed of light in the other medium. Here I have already written it as glass, so I am going to write it as glass. So how will you write the general equation? So generally absolute refractive index of a medium N is equal to, the notation of speed of light in vacuum is C and speed of light in glass is V. So I am just going to write Ng for you to understand better. C is constant, that is speed of light in vacuum is constant and its value is C is equal to 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second, maximum velocity of light in space, divided by, now I am going to give the notation, speed of light. Last year you must have learnt motion and time, there you have learned what is speed, velocity and all. So speed of light in glass, I am going to write it as Vg, which is V subscript G. Okay, so the general expression is just something like this. N general for any medium you can write it as N is equal to C by V. N is the absolute refractive index of that particular medium. Say for water, then it becomes N water. C doesn't change. Then V is the velocity or the speed of light in that particular medium. Now, from this expression, actually, we have to understand some things, or there is a consequence of this expression is that C is a constant. C is speed of light in vacuum. It doesn't change. It is universal. It is the same everywhere. N is equal to C by V. If this is the constant, what varies is N varies as V. That is, if N is higher, V is going to be lesser. Understand? So, how can you write it in terms of proportionality sign? You must have learned what is ratio and proportion in mathematics. I am going to use the proportionality sign. N is inversely proportional to V, because when you remove a constant, we can, I'll write it here, maybe the board is not visible. N is inversely proportional to V. What can you understand from this? That is, as a medium is more denser or thicker, its velocity will reduce. That is why I gave you an example of tarred road and an uneven road, because the velocity reduces when the road, the surface of the road is uneven. So here, when the refractive index of a medium will be higher when the velocity reduces. So as the velocity is the characteristic that decides, that is actually that throws light on the fact that whether a medium is optically rarer or optically denser. So when light has to travel from a rarer to a denser medium, what happens is the bending happens towards the normal, as well as the velocity reduces. And what is the relation between I and R? I is the angle of incidence. Angle of incidence will be greater than angle of refraction. So all these things you have to keep in mind. Speed of light in vacuum is denoted by C. It has a value 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. It's a very large value. Light travels with maximum speed in vacuum. Next is the absolute refractive index of a medium. N glass is equal to speed of light in vacuum divided by speed of light in glass. Now coming to the general expression, N is equal to C by V, and as a consequence you can write N as inversely proportional to V. That is, whenever a medium is optically denser, more thick, its velocity, the light velocity of light is definitely going to reduce. Now next is absolute refractive index. You have already understood. Now relative refractive index. Then what is the difference? Why do we need relative refractive index? Every time when you compare, make the comparison of speed of light with respect to speed of light in vacuum, then it is called absolute refractive index. But sometimes you may have to make a comparison between speed of light in two different media. Then it is called relative refractive index. So relative refractive index is the refractive index of one medium with respect to another relative refractive index. But how will you find out mathematically? Yeah, earlier when we discussed about refraction, we have considered two media here. The first media has the incident ray and the second media has the refracted ray. Now let us consider this as light being traveling from rarer to a denser medium. This is the first medium, this is the second medium. Now relative refractive index is the refractive index of one medium with respect to another. Now I am going to write the expression as what is the absolute refractive index of the first medium. So as an example, I am going to take water and glass. We can make comparison between any two type of medium. It can be between air and glass, air and water, water and glass. I am just taking an example of water and glass. Note that water is optically rarer than glass. Okay. Now I am going to write N water. What was the expression? Absolute refractive index of N, or the real refractive index of water, N water, can be written as C divided by VW. Now I am going to rewrite this because the next expression I am going to write is with the subscripts 1 and 2. Okay, so water is our first media, so I can write it as N1 is equal to C by V1. This is also true. This is for you to understand that I have taken the example of water and glass. Now this is our first media, so N1 is equal to C by V1. Okay, next, what is the absolute refractive index of glass? Ng is equal to C by Vg. Okay, now I can rewrite because glass is the second medium. I can use the subscripts 2. N2 is equal to C by V2. Understand? Now coming to relative, these are the two absolute refractive indices. Again, I am going to use a plural word, indices. Okay, index 1, indices when it comes to 2. Okay, now what is the absolute relative refractive index of the two media? So as I told you, absolute refractive index, if you divide two absolute refractive index, you are going to get the relative refractive index. Okay, so I am going to write N, what is the relative refractive index of the second media with respect to the first. So N21, as I told you, N21 is equal to N2 by N1. What is N2? C by V2 divided by C by V1, isn't it? How will you divide two fractions? It is the multiplication with the reciprocal, C by V2 multiplied by V1 by C, isn't it? C gets cancelled. What will you get finally? V1 by V2. That is N21 is equal to V1 by V2. That is, I am going to rewrite this. I will rewrite this N21 It is the ratio of N2 and N1 is equal to V1 by V2. So the basic difference between absolute refractive index and relative refractive index is that absolute refractive index is the comparison of, or it is the ratio of speed of light in vacuum to the speed of light in that particular medium. Coming to relative refractive index, it is again a ratio. It is the ratio of speed of light in one medium to the speed of light in the other medium. So in this case, if it is N21, it just flips on the right hand side. It will be V1 by V2. That is N2 by N1 is equal to V1 by V2. Why does this happen? I have already given you the explanation, because more thicker or more denser, the more dense a medium is, the less will be the velocity. So they always have a inversely proportional relation. That is, one gets higher, then automatically the other becomes smaller. So with this, actually, we come to an end of the session. 2 or 3 things we have to notice. N21 is equal to V1 by V2. It is the relative refractive index of two particular media. So in this case, it is between water and glass. You can write in any form. Suppose I am going to write N12. How will you write? N12 will be, you have to flip this sign, V2 by V1. Understand? Because N12 is N1 by N2. Okay, N1 by N2 will be V2 by V1. So just the opposite happens there. And another thing to be noted is the relation between relative refractive index and the absolute refractive index. You have to bear the equations in mind, and the comparison can happen in any manner. And the refractive index is always a constant value for any pair of media. For glass and water, it will be having a constant value. For air and glass, it will be having another constant value. So it is always a constant. And when you think about, whenever we talk about a physical quantity, so refractive index is a physical quantity, it is measurable. What is the unit of this physical quantity? Does it have any unit? So as I told you, when you take the absolute refractive index, N is equal to C by V. What is the unit of C? Meter per second. Meter per second. What is the unit of V? Meter per second. It gets cancelled. So does refractive index have any, does it have any unit? It doesn't have any unit. So it is a physical quantity without any unit. So when you write, every time we make you, we ask you to memorize all the units, but in this case, you don't have any unit here, because it's a ratio and it is a comparison with the same quantities. Okay, same quantities means speed divided by speed, their units get cancelled. So N has no unit. Another notation for N is, as I told you, there is one more notation we'll be basically using. It is mu. You write a small letter U with a tail. Then mu is another unit, or another notation, not unit, another notation you can use for refractive index. In some textbooks or in some other study materials, you might face such notation. We can use N as well as mu also. It is called mu. Okay. So with this, we come to an end of this session. There are several applications of refraction, real life application. That is, a river may appear shallow, or it may not show its actual depth due to refraction, because any object at the river bed will appear as raised due to refraction. We'll be discussing the applications of refraction in detail in the next session. Thank you.